Hello and welcome to my top 10 bold predictions video for the 2023 NRL season. Now, I know we're still a little way off, like still a few months till footy, but honestly, I'm hyped. I'm trying to get you guys hyped up too. So let's rip into this one. Disclaimer before we start, I don't necessarily think these things are going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do, if that makes any sense. So getting into it, the first one's probably like the biggest bold prediction here, like biggest hot take. Brian Toto misses Origin selection. Now, I know you probably look at that and go, what? You think, like, what are you talking about? But I think with the way that Josh Adokar ended last season and the way he played in the World Cup, Freddie would be stupid not to pick him again. Like, not even just for his on-field stuff, but the stuff he does off the field. Like, he brings all the boys together, gets them ready to go. And I think as well, so you've got Josh Adokar on one wing, right? And you think, Brian Toto's getting the other wing spot for sure. Joseph Suaalii has to play Origin for me this season. He's not going to play fullback because Teddy will be there. And he's not going to play in the centres because you've got Trbojevic and Latrell Mitchell. So the only place he can really play for him is in the wing. And I think like Freddie Fittler loves Daniel Tupou. Like honestly, I think he's got a bit of a thing for him. But Joseph Suaalii literally is Daniel Tupou but better. Anything Daniel Tupou can bring to a squad, so can Joseph Suaalii, but just has more skill. And I just think like he has to play Origin this season. So I think for at least game one, it's going to be Josh Adokar and Latrell Mitchell on the wings. I didn't mean to say Joseph Suaalii. I just got a little bit excited talking about Latrell because here's my next one. I think Latrell Mitchell wins the Dally M for the first time in his career. Now, the reason I think this is because if we had a look at the way that he played when he came back for America, bro was a different beast. And then like went over for the World Cup and ripped teams apart. Like, he looked unreal. And I think as long as he stays on the field for the whole season, so no injuries, no suspensions, I honestly think the Rabbitohs are destined for the top four and largely on the back of Latrell Mitchell. I think he gets the 3 points most weeks for them, and I can't see any reason why he won't win the Dally M medal. Now, number 3 takes us to coaches for the first time here. I think Anthony Griffin is the first coach sacked, which, I mean, that's not too much of a bold prediction, but I think it happens before round 8. Now, that's very, very early for a coach to get sacked, but I just think if you got Ben Hunt over at the World Cup having these interviews saying that Hook's job's under pressure. And I don't think the players at the Dragons like Hook very much. So I think like they're not going to rock up. Because if they know that like if they play bad and they lose, Griffin's gone. What do you think they're going to do? I don't think they're going to play to their best. And I think he'll be out the door before round 8. Because there's a little bloke called Des Hasler is on the market. And they want to snap him up before any other club takes him. And if you don't think the Dragons are in the market for looking for another coach, they had an interview with Cameron Ciraldo before he chose the Dogs. So they're obviously looking for other coaches. And I think Hook's got to get the hook, basically. I think his head's on the chopping block and he'll be out of there before round 8. Now, my number 4 here is basically history repeating itself. We've seen a second rower go from the Warriors to the Eels and become a star. And I think we might see this again. My number 4 bold prediction is that Jack Murchie becomes the next Isaiah PAPALI'I. Now, with PAPALI'I leaving, there's a lot of second row minutes gone as well, especially because Niakora's gone too. So I think someone's got to take those minutes. Why not Jack Murchie? Ryan Madison's there, yes, and so is Jermaine Hopgood, but I think they're going to play as middle forwards in tandem, those two. So I think there's a huge amount of minutes in the second row to be taken up. And I think Jack Murchie is that guy to step up and take those and fulfill his potential and become that next guy for the Eels on that right edge. Number 5 for me is that Blake Mozer becomes the Broncos number 9 by the end of the season. Have a look at Broncos hooking ranks at the moment. In their squad, they've got Billy Walters and Corey Pakes that can play dummy half. Now, both those guys are solid NRL players, don't get me wrong, but neither of them are setting the world alight. And I think, like, Billy Walters, yes, he's doing a decent job and he's getting better at playing hooker, but I still don't see him ever becoming a top 5 hooker in the NRL, where for Blake Mozer, I definitely do. If you haven't seen this guy, please go check him out. Compared to Cameron Smith, I know we hear that all the time with, like, especially young Queensland hookers coming through, but this guy, like, he's a general from dummy half. He's literally, like, his game looks like it's molded off Cameron Smith. He's going to be the next big thing, and I think we will see that by the end of the season. He's going to be playing number 9, and I reckon the Broncos make the finals this season, and it's off the back of having a solid spine, and I think Blake Mozer is going to show us what he's made of and really, really set the world alight. Maybe 2024 is his season to come through, but I honestly think that if you don't know him by the end of this, but I honestly think if you don't know him now, you're definitely going to know about him by the end of the season. Moving on to bold prediction number 6. The Newcastle Knights made the top 8. Yes, you heard me correctly. I think their 4-pack is one of the best in the comp. You got the Saifidi twins there, Blake Brayley coming out to Fooker, Jaden Brayley coming out to Fooker. Always get those two mixed up. We also got Frizzell, who's still there. Adam Elliott's now there. And then even apart from that, like their halves, Jackson Hastings going to be guiding around the park, which is exactly what that club needs. Caleb Ponga could definitely fight number 6 with a simplified role. You've also got like Dan Gagai and Bradman Best out in the centres there. I honestly think there's no reason why they can't make the finals. If every single player in their team plays to their potential, they're going to be on fire. Like, honestly, I think, and it's really good for the Newcastle area if they're going well. Like, they get around them when they're playing shit out. So I can't imagine what McDonald Jones Stadium would be like when they're winning again. Honestly, I have really high hopes for the Knights this year. Like, they're my smoky for the top 8. Like, it's also hard because who comes out of the top 8? Like, pretty much every club from last season's got better, apart from a couple, and they won't drop back that much and go out of the top 8. So I think the Newcastle Knights can make the top 8 for next season. Keeping on the final sort of rhetoric, I think the Penrith Panthers do a three-peat for the first time since Para in the 80s. There's no reason why, the Panthers won't do it. They've still got Cleary, they've still got James Fisher-Harris, Isaiah Yeo. I know they've lost Kikau and Coruscant, but you've still got people like Dylan Edwards as well, Jerome Luai. Their team is phenomenal, and they won the top 4 grades last season in the men's. So they've obviously got a lot of talent coming through. There's probably guys that might play first grade from this year we haven't even heard of, and we'll be able to rip it up. It's ridiculous the stocks they've got, and I don't know, now they know how to win a comp too. They know everything they need to do. They know all the players know their roles. Ivan Cleary knows how to coach these guys. He knows these blokes inside out now. I mean, I suppose they've got a few new assistant coaches in the background, but I honestly think there's nothing to worry about there. The Panthers, unfortunately, again, I reckon they're going to be the favourites for the comp, and I don't see who stops them. Number 8, you might, if you pay close attention to footy, you'll know who this guy is. If you don't, then you might not know who he is, but you will by the end of the year. Justin Matamua becomes one of the key players for the Tigers at lock. That is my bold prediction of the season. That is bold prediction number 8 is that Justin Matamua becomes one of the key players for the Tigers at lock. Now, if you don't know who this guy is by now, you're going to know who he is by the end of the season. He played 2 games for the Tigers last year, I think, and I think he's the perfect prototype for a ball playing lock these days. He's the perfect link man between Coruscant and the halves. Could really, really unlock Brooks' game again and make him one of the best halves in the comp. We saw in 2018, Luke Brooks won the Dally M Halfback of the Year. There's potential there. Adam Dewey, we've also seen potential there for him. And I think Matamua could become that really missing piece for the Tigers that they really need to help them push on. I don't think they're making finals this year, but they could look really, really good for 2024 if they have a really good season. I think it's going to be the back of Justin Matamua having a breakout season. So number 9, despite the fact that I said the Panthers are going to win the comp again, I think the Sharks take out the minor prem. Now, if you have a look at their roster, there's been minimal turnover. The only 2 guys that played any minutes of significance last year in first grade that have left are Fafita and Tolman. And they've brought in Kafusi, and they've also got Jesse Coughlin waiting in the wings to take those minutes up. And look, they've all got another year to gel together. They've all had another preseason together. I don't know why. I don't see any reason why they're going to go backwards, that's for sure. And I think they're going to keep going on an upwards trajectory. Nico Hines have another stellar year, and players come up with it. Cameron McInnes didn't even have that good of a season last year. I think if he gets used to the system, honestly, I've got such high expectations of the Sharkies this year. I think they'll at least make a prelim final because it'll be better for the experience from last season. And yeah, I think they take out the minor prem. Now, on to number 10 and my final bold prediction of the 2023 season. I think the new club, the Dolphins, get a player award at the end of the season, and it's going to be Rookie of the Year. It's going to either go to Isaiah Katoa, Valence Tavade, and Jack Bostock. Now, if you don't know who these guys are, please go look at their highlights. Isaiah Katoa was the preferred 6 for Tonga in the World Cup. They had Junior Ramon, who had a stellar end of the season last year, and they still chose to pick an 18-year-old guy who hadn't played NRL just yet. And then Valence Tavade, go check out my TikTok I made about him, with his highlights. He's a freak. Basically Conrad Hurrell 2.0, but better. He only played he's only played 1 season of rugby league. Grew up playing rugby, and he's killing teams in Q Cup. So I reckon that'll translate really well to the NRL. And Jack Bostock's tall, rangy guy. he's come from the Steelers system, and I mean we like see all like how many good players come out of that. He's a center winger, and I think like if he gets given a shot, he'll show that he's really ready for the NRL. So they're my bold predictions. Let me know in the comments if you agree with any of them, if you think they're stupid, which I mean most of you probably will. But also drop down your bold predictions for the season and who you reckon is going to win the comp. Thanks for watching, guys.